So I vacuumed everything out now, and it looks pretty good. So I was going to shampoo the carpets, but I'm thinking that I just don't see that much dirt on it. Now, of course, these are black carpets, so who knows what's actually in here. But it seems like if there is dirt, it's not that visible, obviously. It's black carpeting, so you're not going to see anything. But it looks pretty good shape. Once I took the mats out, that seemed to be the most grodiest part there. So once I took those out, it seems like it seems pretty clean. So I just did a thorough vacuuming. Kind of detailed like these parts down here. There was like some stuff in here, and kind of got that all out with a screwdriver and a paper towel, and get in there and really detail that stuff. Put some plastics on this red here to polish that back to shape, so it makes it look a little bit nicer. So anything that's down here that we're not going to get to, because once our seats are in here, as you know, this car is pretty tight anywhere down in this whole area right here. There's seat, and you're not going to be able to reach down there and grab anything. So yeah, I think we're good to go. I mean, of course, the passenger side looks even better. Might be a cigarette burn hole here or something, which I'm not going to be able to take out anyway. But the carpeting generally looks pretty good. Like I said, just doing a thorough vacuuming and then just detailing these areas right here, just getting everything done that's in this area here. Lubricate these bolts and everything and stuff like that. Just get everything ready to go. Okay, so here's what the interior looks like with the seats in place. So it's looking really, really fresh. I like how the seats came out, and I like how the overall look of the car is looking. It's looking pretty stock. It looks just like it has an upgraded interior. It's about the only thing that looks different about it compared to any other Cappuccino. Other than this area right here is the only real giveaway. And then over here, those two items right there is the only thing that stands out. Is anything to anybody that has a Cappuccino, they'll probably recognize that that's something different. But other than that, it looks pretty stock, other than the interior colors, of course. But yeah, what do you guys think? You think it looks pretty good? Let me know in the comments. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for the interior. We are done with the interior, so we're going to put the roof back on here, roll up the windows, and that's going to be, that area is considered done. There are a couple minor things. I'm going to come back, like I mentioned before, with the down in this area. We might be changing some stuff around here, not very much, but something in that area. But that's it. Otherwise, it's good to go. And so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the front here and finish up the front. The last thing we need to do is put the cooling system in place. We got the wiring, we got the pump, we got the hose, we got the clamps, we got the radiator, we got everything we need. So all we have to do is put that together. Okay, so with the interior done, now we're down the home stretch here. I'm getting super, super, super excited now. So what I've done is I've loosely placed the front fascia back in. Some might call it a bumper, but it's really just a piece of plastic. It weighs about 5 pounds. It's not going to do anything, believe me. So it's not a bumper, but it's a front fascia. Got that back in loosely for now. And then I've bolted back our horn locator. I believe this is where the horns were originally. And they were kind of, the previous owner had relocated them some places. So I think that's back to where they're supposed to be. But not exactly super great about that location, because you kind of see them. I don't really like how you see them. It'd be better if they were hidden behind here, the license plate frame or the license plate bracket, location. I think that would be a better location for them. But anyway, for now, just for simplicity, I put them back to the original location. And so we're going to go ahead and with the fascia on now, we can kind of get an idea. As you can see, this is our radiator that we're going to be using right here. So just out of the Fiat 500e, the battery radiator. So I have to take these fittings off here still, but that's basically what we got for our radiator. And as you can see, it's just about the right size right there for our opening. And we're going to be installing it directly back, but it's not going to be too forward. It's going to be back a bit. So this is where the original radiator was located, right here. And we're going to be running this one. The new one right there is going to go all the way across. It pretty much goes all the way back to the frame here. And I think what we can do is we can just have it overlap right here. So it's going to be pressing against here. Okay, so I got the radiator in, as you can see, there it is right there. You can see it. It's lining up with our opening pretty nicely. And what I've done is I went ahead and relocated the horns to right here, so you don't see them as much. They're hidden behind the license plate frame area. They're out of the airstream. They were over here before. And this was the actual original location because the radiator ended right there. So this was actually not blocking the radiator. The radiator terminated right there. So, but because of our new radiator, and just the fact that this is open and I really don't want those horns sticking out, we cleverly relocated them right here. So, as you can see, there they are. That's really where they should be anyway, dead center. I did not have to extend the wires. I was able to just make do with the wire that came with it. I had to drill some little holes right here, and then I did a couple sheet metal screws straight into the frame there. So I don't like to drill any holes in something that's structural, but that was a tiny little hole, and it was easily filled up afterwards. So anyway, those are in there good and tight now. And our radiator is right there. And I got those in with just cable ties. It's pretty light. It's in there secure. Like I said, I could probably take this support out. I mean, I'm using it right now just for, I have it padded right here. So it's being, you know, the pressure is being, it's being pulled towards there. So it's kind of just as a brace, really. It's not actually holding it up or anything. It's just as a brace. I mean, I could technically take this intermittent piece out. I could just cut this off because it's not really doing anything other than that. That used to be where the radiator end was at before. So that was the only reason why it's there, the previous radiator. But since it's, I mean, I could just actually cut that out if I wanted to. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. I think I'm fine. It's not that big of a deal. I could probably just cut it all out. I could take that whole thing out. That whole bracket could come out. But I'm going to just leave it. It's okay for now. I don't like to cut out too much stuff. I mean, any kind of support is better. I mean, any kind of cross bracing, anything of any sort is going to be helpful. Because, I mean, it helps support this piece too. So it's doesn't add that much weight. So, I mean, there's no harm in just leaving it. This is the hosing we're going to be using. This is some 5/8. We're also going to be recycling a lot of the 3/4. We have a lot of 3/4 inch stuff. So we're going to try to use that where we need it, like at the radiator and at the reservoir, like right here, and then at the pump. But everywhere else, it's going to be 5/8. And then, so I've got reducers right here. This is going to take it from 3/4 down to 5/8. And then I have some 5/8 to 5/8, some elbows, because I have some tight areas right here, like we're coming out of there. I'm going to have one elbow right there and another one, and then another one to go back. The only way I'm going to be able to make that bend. And then back here, I've discovered a little trick here. So these openings right here in the existing car are 0.55 inches, and we need them to be 0.62 to match our hose. So what I've done here is I've used some heat shrink, the same stuff we're using on all the electrical connectors. I took a measurement to it, and it works out to be exactly about that amount. So just using a heat gun here, like right so. I've already done one of them on that side right there. As you can see, comes out pretty nice. It fills that gap really tight. It's all glued in place. It's a nice, you know, vinyl connector, so there's no it's completely wrapped around it, nice and tight. So that should fill that gap up nicely. And so that way we don't need any kind of reducer. We can just go straight with the 5/8 hose directly in there. So here's what I got here so far. So I started with the chill plate. I'm following where the hot liquid would go, and I'm just basically going out here. So I used 2 elbows right here, and I've been custom cutting the 5/8, the new hosing. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but this is what I'm using right here for the connectors. I bought a 10-pack of elbows and then reducers, 3/4 to 5/8. And I'm only using 2 elbows and 2 reducers, so that's all it's going to take. It looks like I'm going to use about 10 clamps. I bought a 20-pack for the new stuff. And so anyway, following that line back, takes us back to our input here from the chill plate. Hot material coming out, going into the heater core, and then that will lose some of the heat there, and then it comes out. And then from there, the out comes out here to the front, and then we have a reducer here. This is one of our reducers. And then I'm reusing, for all the 3/4 stuff, I'm actually reusing the original spring clamps because those seem to work pretty well. And they're reusable, so there's no problem doing that. So I'm just going ahead and doing for all the 3/4 stuff. So this is a salvage piece of hose right there that came off here. We're not using too much of the salvage stuff, just a little bit, but that's where it worked out really well there. And then so that goes into the radiator, and then the output will be over here, right there so far. Oh, look at the light. And then I think what we're going to do here, the more I look at it, the more I like the idea of using our reservoir in approximately this location here. I think it's going to work really well right there. We can just strap tie that down and have our input. So the input would be straight from the radiator. So we'll have to have 1 3/4 inch hose going in there. Reuse some clamps, reuse some hose, cut to fit, and then the output will go straight into our pump. Up, I need 3 hands. Let me just drop this down here. So that will go straight into our pump, which is right here, and then that will just hang out here, somewhere out here on this support, probably right about in this area right here, and we can just turn that around as so, and then so the output from the pump will be going straight into our input for the chill plate. So that will be that will close the circuit right there. So we'll have to use one reducer to somewhere along this line right here from the pump going in, and then that should do it. Okay, so we have a cooling system here. It's all installed now. It's looking pretty good. I think we got it at about 100% now. I do have to do one more thing here. This is our power supply for the pump. I'm gonna try to find an adapter that fits that plug, that little tiny little pin thing. I think that's a generic thing. So I could probably salvage something off of something and match it. So that's what I'm gonna do. So other than that, we're good to go. There'll be a plate right here, so you're not going to see that from this angle. This is kind of a unique angle here. There's going to be a plate covering all this right here. So you'd only be looking at stuff like from right here. That's how it looks in the front. And here's what it looks like underneath here. I think it's looking pretty good. A lot of the piping has been salvaged. All the 3/4 was salvaged, of course. And the clamps were all salvaged. And like when you start putting things together, it all kind of like holds itself in together. So even with this radiator being on there, somewhat good, but it's even better now that it has this other stuff on there, because it starts, all the plumbing everything kind of holds itself together. So it's kind of like a big spider web. It kind of all holds, everything's connected together. They have multiple places to tie them down. So everything kind of just gets nice and firm after you make all the connections and everything. So it's looking pretty good right here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and put some coolant, or I guess mostly water, a little bit of coolant in our system here, and try her out. So we're testing the system now. I've been adding water to the system, and I tried it out, and the pump was pumping, but it wasn't pushing it through the system. So I determined that there was air in the system. So what I did is I took this one out right here, this inlet. This is coming from the chill plate into the heater core. It's kind of a high, it's an equally high spot of the system as it is to the reservoir. It's about the same height. So I think that all the air there was enough air in the system that it just wasn't pushing through. So what I did is I loosened it up, and then I kind of filled in a little bit of some more liquid directly into the hose to get it up to the point where it was overloading. And then I basically rammed it back in real quickly. And now I turned it on, and we were getting bubbling happening here. So you can kind of see there's the only coolant that's in the system remaining from the original car as it was before I did all the modifications was in the heater core. So there's a little bit of green coolant in the heater core. And everywhere else I've been adding just straight water. And now you can see right here that the input right here, there's a little bit of green right here coming in. So let me go ahead and show you what's happening here. Let me fire it up right here, and I'll show you what's going on. So our pump is on. Oh, here we go. See, there you go. There we go. There it is. It's pushing out the last of the air now. We're going to have to add some more liquid here. It looks like it's almost going to be sucking in air there. Let me pause for a second here. Okay, so I've been burning in the system, so to speak. Just running the cooling system. Running the car, just having it idle. It's so it's just on right now. Everything seems to be pretty stable. Not having any leaks or anything. No issues. Everything seems to be humming along pretty nicely here. So I've had the car on for about 20 minutes now. You can see that the controller temperature is at about 22. Up, this went to 23. It's on the fringe of hitting 23C. It started at 18C, but this is 20 minutes later. So it does produce a tiny little bit of heat even when it's idling. It's kind of interesting. So I got my thermometer in here. So I think it's about 59.5 or so, 5960-ish in the garage. And if I just put some sensors on, some tests on, you can see that right there, the output's about 67.5 right here, just this hose coming out of the chill plate. So I imagine the chill plate itself is warmer, but that, at least the outside of the hose here coming out of the chill plate, 67.5. So as it works its way over into the heater core, well, see here it's only 63, so it's already cooled down. Oh, 65.5. So that's outside, you know, obviously the coolant inside is going to be warmer than the hose temperature. So the idea is that that heat comes straight out of the controller and goes inside. And so what you can do now is you can turn on the, you could turn on the fan in here, basically. And that's the only fan in the entire car. That will help cool off, that helps cool off the heater core, which is essentially just a second radiator, so it's just a interior radiator. So you can get a little bit of heat coming off. See, there is a little bit. It's a little bit coming off there. It's pretty good. See, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to get that heat because I want to use it to its full potential here. So yeah, that's the intention. So even when idling, I'm kind of surprised it's producing that much heat. That's actually kind of like significant amount of heat coming out here. And I noticed here at the radiator too, which is towards the end of the circuit. See, it's about 68.5 right here, 69 over here. So about 10 degrees warmer than the ambient air temperature. We are finally done. I spent a whole nother day here just tidying up a lot of stuff here. Putting brackets back, putting plastic pieces. I've managed to put this plastic piece back in place here. I had to heavily modify it, but it's the original piece back in. And then I've done a lot of stuff right here. Put this piece back in right here, just to kind of make it look a little more finished, you know. Certainly not necessary, but it's nice to get that done. And then I also got the chargers securely in place now. I was actually able to lower them down. I was going to put a shim on it. I didn't have to, actually, so I just lowered it down so it's resting right on the frame. And then they're strapped back right here. As you notice, it's a little bit lopsided because we have a brake line sticking out there. I didn't really want to put it... I guess I could put a shim right there to even it out. As you can see, it's a little bit sticking out, a little bit crooked, but I mean, it's on their level. It's just crooked because that brake line is sticking out there. So I don't feel like bending the brake line too much. And then we've got our some nice wiring loom right here, that orange wiring loom that's salvaged off the 500E. And more of wiring loom right here. I tell you, it takes a significant amount of time just doing all this tidying up, all this, you know, making all these wiring contacts all look nice and neat and everything. So the only thing we have to do is do the sides here. The big chunks right here. Now I haven't done it yet because I just know there's going to be something. Despite as much as I've been scrutinizing the whole process here, I just know I'm going to miss something. So I want to take it for a drive first, and then I'll come back and tidy that up later because it's real easy to get to. Last thing we need to do, and but otherwise we should be 99.9% there right now. So we're ready to go ahead and weigh the car. Now, as you might recall, our original weight of the car was around 1,600 with a full tank of gas. And my original target weight for the car was 1,650, but of course we reduced our battery pack by 33%, so that shaved off 150 pounds. So we should be right at 1,500, which I think is a pretty magical weight. It's definitely a nice weight to be at. It's pretty light. She's definitely a ballerina. Okay, so here it is. We're on the scales, and here's our numbers. So how about them apples right there? 1527. Not quite as light as I thought it was going to be. But I'll take that. That's still pretty light, and there's definitely no other electric car that I know of that's this light, that's for sure. And check out the balance of the all the stuff that we've shifted around, all the things that we've modified. Look, it's interesting to see. I really wanted to keep I really wanted to keep the side to side as close as possible. So I was even shifting weight, like in the front left, for example, I was shifting weight to the left front instead as opposed to the right, because I know the steering column side is always going to be heavier. So I was shifting stuff to the left, trying to balance it out. And sure enough, it kind of brought the numbers pretty close. It's still heavier on the right than the left, but only fractionally. I mean, it's only 7 pounds. So 3.5 pounds. If you shed off 3.5 pounds, put 3.5 over here, it's like boom, you'd be perfectly 50-50 weight distribution side to side. And the same thing in the back, it's actually even tighter. 376 and 380, that's only 2 pounds different, 4 pounds difference total, but if you take off 2 pounds and put 2 pounds, if you could shed 2 off and put 2 here, you'd be balanced off. So I mean, that's pretty tight. I mean, I think we've done an excellent job here, if I do say so myself, at keeping the weights perfectly balanced. I mean, that's actually remarkable, actually, truly, if you look at those numbers. I mean, and these numbers don't change either. It's an electric car. There's no gas tank, there's no variable weight here. This is it, this is how it's going to stay. So the thing that does change, of course, is that when we sit in the car, it's going to be on the right side of the car. So the right will be a little heavier. But then if you have a passenger of the same weight, then all of a sudden it balances back out again. It's like 50-50 balance, which is perfect. And although it is going to be biased to the rear slightly, of course, because we reduced that battery pack size a little bit. So but we also shaved off 150 pounds. So very interesting numbers right there. I'm very happy with it. I do wish that I would have been under 1500. That's the only thing. But then that's just me being a little excessively anal about things. I mean, I don't know if there's anything I could do to shed any more weight. I don't think there's anything else I got left. I mean, there's no tricks up my sleeve. I mean, there's not really any other shot of doing anything. So, anyway, I'll still take that. I think that's a solid number. So let's go ahead and take it off the scale, tighten up and torque down the wheels, and then we're ready to go ahead and wash it and then go out for a drive.